Once I started selling vanilla, I have not heard one person say they don't like vanilla. They don't like the smell of it. It's always that. It's always, we love vanilla. It's my favorite. It's my favorite vanilla lip balm. It's my favorite body oil. It's my favorite skincare.
I'm Delia Colon, and this is The Zest. Citrus, seafood, Spanish flavor, and Southern charm. The Zest celebrates cuisine and community in the Sunshine State. Today, do you smell that? Florida's new signature scent just might be vanilla. A few weeks ago here on the pod, Chef Justin Timineri of Fresh from Florida told us about some of his favorite trending agricultural products coming out of the Sunshine State. And one in particular made me gasp: vanilla. You can almost smell it, right? That warm, sweet, comforting scent that reminds you of baking chocolate chip cookies or maybe lighting your favorite candle. Now, Stephanie Webb knows that aroma all too well. As the founder and owner of Sunshine State Vanilla, she cultivates and sells vanilla plants grown on a farm on Pine Island in Lee County. She also has a line of vanilla-scented kitchen and bath products, and they smell divine, trust me. Now, predominantly grown in Africa and South America, vanilla is starting to flourish here in Florida, thanks to folks like Stephanie and her partners, which include local farmers and researchers. The Zest team recently met up with Stephanie. In our conversation, she shares what led to her interest in vanilla, why the plant's beans are so darn expensive, and her favorite sweet and savory ways to cook with vanilla. Stephanie also explains why Florida is a perfect place to grow vanilla plants and to host the inaugural Florida Vanilla Symposium, which takes place this Saturday, April 12th, 2025, at Fallen Oak Farms in Valrico. It's open to the public, and I know you're curious, so you'll find a link in our show notes or on our website, thezestpodcast.com. Now here's my conversation with Stephanie Webb.
If I rewind all the way back to what my day job has been for 20 years, it's been a nutraceutical formulator. And that basically means that when you go into Whole Foods and you see those elderberry gummies or electrolytes or sports drinks, I formulate those from the botanical side of things. So if somebody says, I need, a powder for sleep aid, or if I need something for immune boosting properties, I'm the one that they turn to. I've worked for a lot of different companies doing this kinds of things, and I work with food scientists and chemists as well. And so that kind of led me down this sourcing industry, because when you think of a great product, you might not actually be able to get the ingredients in, that are needed for these large clients. And so that led me to, I was looking for vanilla organic CO2 extract in, I think it was 2019, and it was kind of right around the time COVID started happening and everything was shutting down, and I couldn't get a hold of international suppliers. It was really difficult. So I kind of went down this rabbit hole and reached out to somebody that was doing vanilla research at the University of Florida in Miami, and he kind of blew my mind with saying, oh, vanilla, we've been, studying vanilla for years here in Florida, and it grows really well, and it's been found in the Everglades, and I had no idea. I was like, what? There's native vanilla growing in Florida, and I'm from Florida. It kind of kept me up at night. It was one of those things that I was like at 4 a.m. still Googling, going, I had no idea. Why isn't anybody growing vanilla? And so it was one of those why not me moments of, I want to grow some vanilla. Why not? So I found a good source of vanilla planifolia, which is the kind that they're all edible, but we can consume it, and it's the most popular type of vanilla. And I had that. It's been naturalized to Florida, so we know it's growing really well here. And I had it tissue cultured and offered it large scale. And so I've been selling vanilla to farmers for about 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are the farmers doing with it?
They're growing it. I mean, we've got a nice little tight-knit community of people that are growing vanilla. It's kind of, there's a learning curve to it, and it takes a couple of years for it to start producing beans. So between this spring and next spring, in about a year, we'll really know how many beans we've got and how well it's doing and all of that. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey for the most part of learning about how to grow it in Florida. And I think honestly, once we actually have lots of beans to share and sell, it's going to kind of, get huge, honestly. People are going to be like, whoa, I had no idea. We don't have anything to show for it quite yet. We've had them in the ground now for 3 or 4 years. And my personal farm was washed away in Ian. So I had to replant. So I'm a little bit behind some of my other farmers, but we're all working together and everybody gets along. And it's been a fun adventure.
Where is your farm located?
It's in Lee County. So it's south on Pine Island.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. I agree that I don't think of Florida as being a place where vanilla typically grows, as you said, but there have been so many crops that have surprised me over the years with this podcast. Like we went to Brooksville and there's a place called the Olive Grove, and that opened my eyes to how many people are growing olives here in the state. Yeah. And vanilla could be that next thing.
Yeah.
I actually ordered some vanilla beans a few months ago to give as holiday gifts, and I made my own vanilla extract.
Great.
With vanilla beans and vodka, and let it sit in my closet for like 6 months.
Exactly.
And everybody went crazy. It was so easy. I have to do it again now, so it'll be ready for next Christmas. Yeah. But those beans that I ordered, I bet they didn't come from Florida. So where do we typically get our vanilla beans?
So typically vanilla comes from Madagascar, Uganda, South America. There's a couple of, countries that are really well known for vanilla. And sometimes it's done really well and the beans are beautiful, but a lot of times, it's kind of is similar to I liken it to the blood diamond industry. There's a lot of trauma and things happening in that industry that is not sustainable and it's difficult. And so, in Florida, domestically, we're able to really practice regenerative farming and organics. And we also have a native pollinator. So there's a lot of things that are really looking positive for Florida growers.
Why do you think so many farmers are interested in buying vanilla from you?
Well, honestly, there's a lot of reasons, but I think people like to have the connection to their food now. And that's more and more growing in popularity. Agritourism's growing in popularity. And knowing that, I think most people don't even know that vanilla comes from a beautiful orchid vine. That's something that I didn't even think about it. You just pick up a vanilla bean and you think, oh, it's a bean. You don't really think much about it, but it actually is a beautiful orchid that natively grows in trees, has a beautiful blossom, bloom, and then it produces these beans. And normally it has to be hand pollinated. Which makes it extremely expensive because the labor costs are extraordinary.
So that's why it's so expensive. Okay, how expensive is it?
Well, I mean, that depends on where you get it from. It depends on the season, depends on the crops. And a lot of times these beans overseas tend to be picked early so that they can be the first ones to get the financial incentive, first ones to market. And so they don't always develop their flavors like they should or their aromatic qualities. And so when they're left on the vine to fully develop or, they're not picked early, sometimes they're sprayed with vanillin. And vanillin is the chemical in vanilla that occurs naturally that makes it that sweet vanilla flavor. And sometimes when they're picked early, the vanillin does not have the ability to develop fully. And so they spray it with a synthesized vanillin. And a lot of times, I think they actually said too, I've seen reports that say about 87 or 90% vanilla flavored products are not actually real vanilla. It's synthesized.
Oh.
I know. So imagine if we were able to help support farmers in America domestically, and with America is the top buyer of vanilla products. You think about not only vanilla in the body care industry,
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, my daughter's 12.
Yes.
Vanilla is her favorite scent for lotion, bath products.
All of it. Everybody, I've never really thought much about vanilla because it's everywhere. It's very common. But once I started selling vanilla, I have not heard one person say they don't like vanilla. They don't like the smell of it. It's always that. It's always, we love vanilla. It's my favorite. It's my favorite vanilla lip balm. It's my favorite body oil. It's my favorite skincare. It's my favorite granola bar. It's like, it's in
candles.
Right.
You're right. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why people say things like, oh, it was vanilla. It was kind of just like ubiquitous.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned synthetic vanilla versus real vanilla. I almost feel like I'm talking to like a sommelier about wine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So is it possible to put into words what a good vanilla tastes like or smells like?
Oh my gosh. It's hard to put into words, but from my perspective, because I have worked in laboratories for a long time and I look at the chemistry of plants. That is my day-to-day job, is I look to see, has it been adulterated, or what, this lavender coming from France looks chemically different from the lavender coming from Bulgaria. Like, I can tell where plants are developing from their chemistry. So from a chemistry standpoint, vanilla has such a depth of different, chemicals. It has these smoky flavors, these sweet vanillin, that's the chemical that makes it sweet. It has balsamic notes. Like, it's a really depth of aroma and taste that we don't really recognize when it's put into our other things, or, synthetics and things like that. We don't really recognize that. But when you made your own vanilla extract, you will.
Yes.
You'll be able to start to tell.
It smells so good.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing to do with vanilla?
My favorite thing, I have a lot of favorite things. So one of them is I have a body oil, and I'm actually getting ready to launch my own product line.
Stop.
So stay tuned, because I've been doing products for 20 years for other companies. So this is my little, passion project. So body care. I love it. And I don't think people realize, nobody knows this, but vanilla is extremely antioxidant. So it's really good for the skin.
Ooh.
And it's basically got antioxidant powerhouse, kind of like turmeric or something that we hear about. So I also sprinkle it on my food. So you can buy dried vanilla and you can put it into like barbecue sauces, or sprinkle it on your rice, or you can put it over your oatmeal, and it's amazing.
Oh, I do sometimes put vanilla extract in my oatmeal. Where do I buy dried vanilla?
Well, it's going to be on my website.
Of course. From you.
Yes. Yeah, there's very few places that sell it, but I've become like this, like, oh my gosh, why does nobody know about this? It's like it's kind of, I have it in my spice cabinet, kind of like, turmeric or something. I just add it to my dishes, whether it's savory or sweet.
Yeah, what are some other things I should be doing? Because I just think of vanilla for sweet dishes, baking, things like that.
Yes. Oh, there's so much more you can do with it. Vanilla is amazing. Of course, in the baking side of things, I like to pair it with citrus. Orange and vanilla is great. Almond and vanilla is great. All of that, those little blends are great. But I love to put it in savory dishes. So like lemon chicken with vanilla on it is great. Barbecue sauces with vanilla. What else do I do? Balsamic. I do a lot of salad dressings with some vanilla in it.
Wow. Okay, talk to me about some of the challenges of growing vanilla. You said, remind me, how long does it take?
So it takes from a cutting, it's not going to take that long, maybe 2 years from a cutting, but to produce beans. But from a tissue cultured little baby plant, it's going to take 4 years, 3 to 5 years, basically to produce a bean, because they're young plants. So the ones that I'm selling, it's going to take a couple of years for them to be productive plants. So that's one of the challenges. And what I am kind of recommending to farmers is they introduce, other crops that are faster growing, like whether it's, something else that they can make money on, or put them on existing crops like your mango trees or the citrus trees that are kind of defunct and not producing anymore, vanilla can grow really well up those trees as a tutor tree.
I don't understand.
So, okay. I know. I get so excited. I have to rewind a little bit.
Talk to me like I'm my 8-year-old son. How
Yes.
does this work?
Okay, so vanilla is an orchid, and naturally in the wild, an orchid hangs on a tree and grows up a tree and just hangs there, and it gets nutrients from the leaves that kind of compost into the ground. So it needs ground roots, and then it'll grow all the way up the tree. You know, similar to like the way you would see a dragon fruit or something, you know, it's going to need a support system. Or in these large vanilla farms, they use shade houses. So you can either have them grow up a tree like they would in the wild, or you can have them grow on a shade house, inside a shade house with support systems. And so they need that understory shade. Ideally, they will get burned by the sun and die. So you need to have a lot of shade. And they need some nice compost, well draining soil. And so they like, you know, either coconut coir or peat moss or something like that, where it's going to be well draining. And like I said, they can be grown up tutor trees, which is beneficial for a farmer, because then they'll have, you know, a secondary crop while they're waiting for their vanillas to start producing.
Right. Because you said 2 years was not that long, but to me, 2 years is a long time.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. It's a waiting game. Yeah.
Shade House would be a great name for like a gossip podcast.
Oh, yeah. It would.
They're like shade rooms. Shade House.
Yes, a shade house.
Yes. What are you going to call your line?
So Sunshine State Vanilla, those are
right.
the plants that I have. And, you know, I've been selling those to individual plants and large-scale commercial trays of plants as well. And then once the beans are there, it'll be Sunshine State Vanilla beans. And yeah.
Okay, so I might keep Shade House for my own
You should
side
do
project.
That. You should.
I don't know what it would be.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What kind of price range are we talking for a vanilla plant? Because it's almost like a money tree.
It is. Well, and that's the thing is vanilla, there's complications to buying vanilla from, I'm going to say, unknown sources. You know, you can buy vanilla on Amazon, vanilla plants. You can buy them on Etsy. You can see them here and there. They range from $20 to $100. And the issue that you have with that is vanilla can carry a virus called mosaic virus. And you actually don't know that it has this virus until it just doesn't ever produce a bean.
So after the 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, you wait and you wait and you wait and it never produces a bean. So a lot of people get burned that way. And I've seen farms that have had to pull their entire crop out, and I've helped them source, you know, my plants are all virus tested. And so they're all clean stock, which is what you want.
How do you test them?
There's kits that you test them, but the greenhouse that I use, they test them regularly. And as long as there's no cross-contamination with other orchids, then you should be fine, you know. But a lot of times, I would say, you know, orchid enthusiasts, there's a lot of those. And when they carry and transmit these viruses, and that can affect your vanilla production. And so that's one of the main challenges, is making sure that you're getting clean stock for your plants. So that's something that I kind of pride myself in, that we've done this tissue culture project is what it's called, and it's all clean, you know, clean plants. And so they're healthy and they're good to, you know, start a farm with, or personal project, whatever you wanted to do with your plants. So individually, I think my plants individually are around $40.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, for a plant. And then you can buy the trays. The tray has about 72 plants in it. And so if somebody wanted to start a larger scale production of vanilla, they would get a tray, and there's discounts in those.
Oh, I was expecting it to be more.
Yeah. Well, you see, I've seen it on Amazon. I saw somebody trying to sell a plant for $120, and I thought, wow, that's like a really special one. I don't know, but I wouldn't trust it, because where did that plant come from? It might have traveled from another country, show up dead. It might have a virus in it. We don't know, you know?
Right.
So
is this something, if I bought a plant for $40, that I could realistically grow in my backyard? Or
Yes.
do you need a lot of, I mean, you have such a depth of knowledge about about this that it makes me think, I don't know half the stuff she knows. I don't know if I could grow one of these.
Oh, they're easy. I mean, basically, if you can keep a grocery store orchid alive, you can keep vanilla alive.
Well,
so
not for me then.
Okay, so what it needs, it's happiest. Well, in Florida, it's pretty easy to grow, but they are happiest in a humid environment. So you've got a nice humid environment. They like shade. They like well-draining, soils. So as long as you have those three things nailed down, you're going to be fine.
Okay.
I know people that are growing them in Michigan in a bathroom and they're producing.
Oh.
So that they are easy to grow if you know exactly what they like.
Okay. Do they smell like vanilla while they're growing?
No, they smell earthy. I know. So everybody asks me that. I'm like, and I've often wanted to see, what's in the leaves, chemically and whatever. But, as an orchid, you don't have much aroma from an orchid leaf, it's the same thing. But the blossom, the orchid itself, the flower of the vanilla is extremely aromatic.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
we certainly have the humidity here in Florida.
Yes, for sure.
So it's the perfect location for your Florida Vanilla Symposium.
Yes.
It sounds incredible. I just want to walk into that room and smell vanilla.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah. So I'm so excited. Basically, I kind of went down this road of wanting to grow vanilla and for my personal business. And then, I opened it up to introducing it to other farmers. And then when everybody wanted in, it kind of became this well, how do we grow it? And I've found that I've spent hours and hours and hours chatting with farmers on how to grow it. And now I have this nice community of people that don't know each other. And I really want us all to get together, as well as, people that are interested in what we're doing, come and learn about it. It's open to everybody. And so, we've got, I think, 5 speakers, myself, of course, Alan Chambers, who headed up he was the leader in the research in Florida at the university. And then I have a gentleman that is one of the largest international vanilla brokers that's coming to talk about all the different types of vanilla around the world.
Sounds like a movie, like a vanilla heist or something.
Yeah, I mean, vanilla is like that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So, and then of course I'm nailing down a caterer, and we're doing a wonderful vanilla inspired meal. And I've been speaking there's a brewery in town that has a vanilla porter and a chocolate vanilla, some other types of homemade beers that he's doing that he wants to come and have samples for everybody. So it's going to be a great event. I'm so excited. And then on top of it, I'm hoping to launch my product line as well.
Ooh,
I know, my vanilla product line. Yeah.
Okay, so when and where is the symposium?
So April 12th and it's going to be at one of my friend's farms. She's got a beautiful greenhouse location, and she hosts lots of events. It's amazing. It's called Fallen Oaks Farm. And she's got little baby goats, and it's just a really beautiful aromatic gardens. It's a really special place that she has there. So we're having it at her location inside the vanilla greenhouse.
Okay, so Fallen Oaks Farm in Valrico.
Yes, Valrico.
Which is a suburb of Tampa.
Yes,
that
exactly.
Sounds super fun. Okay, I know you said you just got into this sort of because you were following your curiosity a few years ago, but I want to go back. When you were growing up, do you have any vanilla memories? I mean, that smell is so... Every time I bake, my son and I love to bake together, and he always wants to smell the vanilla, and so do I.
Well, I think everybody, I've been in the aromatherapy industry for a long time, and everybody has this connection to vanilla, and it almost is brings you back to childhood. Or for me as a mom like you, that vanilla, smelling your baby's head, it's just like very in your brain, you have this connection to this sweetness, and all of the baby products are always vanilla, and so I feel like that's my connection is as a mom, you have this connection of vanilla to my babies,
Yeah. Or when someone's burning a vanilla candle.
Oh yeah.
It just takes you all kinds
peaceful.
of places. Yes.
It's one of the most calming aromas. And I actually spoke to a guy that was doing research in France, and he had babies that he was doing a study on in the NICU. And he said that if you diffused aroma in the NICU, those babies survived like twice as much as the babies that didn't get the aroma.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really powerful. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Who knew? Who knew all of this? You did.
Right. Right. Well, you become like the vanilla nerd. You're like, what? Wait, it's growing in Florida? You know, I need to know more. I need to know it all.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you for sharing it all with us. Is there anything else you want us to know about Sunshine State Vanilla or the upcoming symposium?
No, I think it's a good opportunity for people that don't know anything about vanilla to come and learn about it and to learn about the different types of way it's utilized, not just from the bean, but from the powder, the extract, using it in food and then growing it. Of course, it's extremely easy in Florida. A lot of times I've seen vanilla growing, now because it's when you're looking for a red car, all of a sudden you see 100 red cars. It's like that for vanilla for me. I'll be walking down a neighborhood and I'll be like, oh, there's vanilla growing up an oak tree. And I wonder if they even know that that's what it is. Like it's everywhere. I see it. I see it a lot of places in South Florida. So it's very common. I would say it's common for those that are looking, but this symposium would be a good place for people to learn more.
For sure.
Yeah.
My friend Jovan, who's the one who got me making my own vanilla extract, I sent her a link to your website.
Oh,
and
good.
She said she was geeking out.
Oh, good.
So I think it's one of those things we didn't even realize we were interested in.
Right.
But now I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
So thank you, Stephanie, and thank you to Kenya Woodard for suggesting you as a guest.
For sure. It's great.
Okay,
yeah, thank you, Kenya.
Go home and put vanilla on everything.
Yeah, you need some vanilla plants now.
I do.
You gotta start growing it.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Of course. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Stephanie Webb is the founder and owner of Sunshine State Vanilla. She's hosting the inaugural Florida Vanilla Symposium, which takes place this Saturday, April 12th, 2025, at Fallen Oak Farms in Valrico. It's open to the public, and you'll find a link in the show notes or on our website, thezestpodcast.com. Thanks to my girl, Kenya Woodard, who always suggests great episodes for giving us this idea. And if you would like to suggest a Zest guest, email us at info@thezestpodcast.com. I'm Dalia Colon. I produce The Zest with Andrew Lucas and Alexandria Ebron. The Zest is a production of WUSF, copyright 2025, part of the NPR network.